we are going to get into the monster of the week, which are fairies, which I am very excited about because I love fairy lore. And first, we're going to talk about the fairy lore in Supernatural, and then we're going to talk about the real life fairy lore. I'm very excited. And like I said, I love fairy lore. I just love lore. But the fairies in Supernatural are kind of hilarious. That whole episode is just amazing. That whole episode is amazing. Okay, and I wish they would do more about aliens because I really love aliens. So when I first watched Supernatural, I thought that's what this episode was gonna be about aliens, and then, excuse me, I thought that's what it was going to be about. I thought it was going to be about aliens, and I was so excited. And then, I mean, I was still excited that it was like fairies, and it turned out to be like leprechauns. Crazy. Yeah, it wasn't even really a fairy, was it? It was a leprechaun or something. I don't really even remember. They had so many like different, like, it could be this in that episode. It was wild. Um anyway. Anyway, that was a long intro for let's talk about the monster of the week. All right, so let's talk about the supernatural fairy lore. All right. You said, okay, right. I thought so too, because I also love aliens, but like it was still great. Yeah, I know. I just like, I think it would be cool if they like, but again, how would they really even do that? Like, because then you'd have aliens and then you'd have God, and I guess that just didn't really like match up. Which I get. But I do think the alien thing is really cool. So yeah. Um anyway, so the supernatural lore on fairies is so okay, and I'm getting this from the fandom wiki, Supernatural Fandom Wiki. So it says fairies are mischievous supernatural beings that come in a variety of forms. They can only be seen by those who have been to their realm or if they choose to be seen. It is revealed that they are the cause of the UFO sightings and the other extraterrestrial encounters around Earth. There are many theories about the reason they abduct people, one of them being to bring people to Avalon so they can service Oberon, King of Fairies. Oh my gosh, this is just like that whole episode is just like coming up in my brain now, and it's just so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, right. So it was a fairy because Dean was the only one that could see the fairy because he got abducted. And Sam couldn't see it, and Sam thought he was crazy. And this is when he was soulless Sam, so he thought he was even crazier then. Um, soulless Sam was wild. Oh my gosh. Yes. And because remember, the lady told him about fairies, and he's like, lady, blah 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 blah, and he like went on like, he was like, you're crazy, and it was fairies. Okay, I'm sorry if the streaming quality is not as great right now. You said you love Soulless Sam. Yes. Okay. Because it does this because I have this page open, and so it's like my computer's doing too much at once. Okay, anyway. So, in Supernatural, it says fairies come in many forms and have been described as magical, mischievous beings from the realm next door. This realm is Avalon, and it is considered to be another dimension or reality. Fairies have been classified into two groups, one consisting of light fairies and the other dark ones. However, there have not been many details about identifying fairy classes. Yeah, they really didn't go much into fairies in this episode because it was really about like, they were like leprechauns, right? Yeah, they were leprechauns. Sorry, I get leprechauns and elves mixed up sometimes. They were leprechauns. Fairies, despite having different types, have some form of society and justice system called the Fairy Tribunal. This court decides on the fate of the beings that break the presumably existing laws of their kind. This is not limited to fairies, as seen when a fairy named Gilda brought her former human enslaver to face the tribunal. Fairies, despite being all different kinds, all seem to cooperate with each other. Okay. This is so funny. This is so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But yes, that was the fairy lore in Supernatural. They didn't really get much into it in Supernatural, like I said. Like, They really didn't talk much about fairies. It was just that lady when they went there, and she was talking about like like the king of Oberon or whatever his name was of the fairies. But my another funny moment, and I think I talked about this last week, was when Dean said, "Fight those fairies! You fight those fairies!" Another classic moment. All right. Okay, I'm going to read the chat now. He said, I remembered another moment of Cass when he is on a call with Dean and he said, I'm the one who gripped you tight and raised you. I'm not sure how orange correlates with black in a way that's new. Oh, yes. So yes, I'm the one who gripped you tight. I love the line, I'm the one who gripped you tight and raised you from perdition. I think that's hilarious. And then, oh, yeah. He said, I'm not sure how orange correlates with black in a way that's new. That is so funny. Orange is the New Black is a great show, by the way, if you haven't watched it. But yes, that is a hilarious line. That is such a funny line. Oh my gosh, I love it. He said, you love Soulless Sam. Yes, Soulless Sam was a treat, let me tell you. I do too. I love Soulless Sam. He's hilarious. All right, now let's talk about some real life fairy lore. All right, sorry, it's going to do this again because I'm on another page. All right, I'm going to undo this though really quick. Okay, there we go. All right, so fairy or fae, yes, they're also called fae. They are mythical beings of folklore and romance, usually having magical powers and dwelling on Earth in close relationship with humans. So this is from, I forgot to say what it's from. This is from Britannica, yes. Okay, so fairies go back to the Middle Ages of Europe, which is crazy. But these beings in various form appear both written in oral literature from the Sanskrit to the nymphs of Greek mythology and Homer. Yes, so okay, this is something that I love about like lore and like supernatural beings and stuff like that, is that they're like fairies and like all sorts of different kinds of supernatural beings that you hear about on Supernatural or just like you know that you just like legends about. There are like stories about them or stuff about them in like old texts, and I I just love it because I don't know. To me, I just think that's really cool. And to me, they're seen in old texts like all around the world, and everyone has kind of like similar legends all around the world. So I just think it's really cool. And to me, I'm like, who knows? They might be real. You never know. You never know. Fairies could totally be real. All right. But the fairies of the past were feared, and they were feared as dangerous and powerful beings who were sometimes friendly to humans but also be cruel or mischievous. Yes. So actually, the real life lore is exactly like Supernatural. They are mischievous beings. So in like even in Peter Pan, Tinkerbell is a little mischievous. Like fairies were not meant to be nice. Like that's why like I don't know when that changed. I don't know when all of a sudden people started portraying them as nice, but fairies were never nice ever. Like no one, like the whole lore on fairies are that they're not nice, they're mischievous. They're just like that leprechaun in Supernatural. You ask them for something and then they give it to you, but with a twist, you know? Yeah, okay. So this is what they're thought, that fairies are usually conceived fairies are usually conceived as being characteristically I can't read, beautiful or handsome, and as having lives corresponding to those of human beings, though longer. So like they live longer than us. They have no souls, which I have not heard that before, which is interesting, and at death simply perish. They often carry off children, leaving changeling substitutes. That's okay, yes. I don't know if you ever listened to my podcast before. I had an episode about changelings, and that was in there. like when the changeling thing was a big deal back in like the 18, I don't know if it's like the 1800s, I don't know. Back when they thought that changelings were real and they were going to steal your babies, they thought that they were fairies. They thought that these fairies would take these babies and then exchange them for changeling, like, I don't know, like monster babies. And, and they thought it was the fairies that were taking them. Awesome, awesome, which is really funny. Oh my gosh. Fairy lore is particularly prevalent in Ireland, Cornwall, Wales, and Scotland. Fairies are common in literature from the Middle Ages and appear on the writings of, ooh, a lot of people. Okay. I don't know any of those people, so I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, so they're the fairy lore is very prevalent in Ireland. I would love to go to Ireland because they also have this like hunt where they hunt for like leprechauns. And like leprechauns, there's this one city, and I think it's in Ireland, where leprechauns are literally considered citizens. They're recognized. And I want to go there so bad. Like literally, they're legal citizens. Oh, it's wild. Okay. Ireland sounds like such a fun place to go. Yes, I want to go so bad. And I want to go when they do the leprechaun hunt because I just want to go and experience it. Like I could be like, I went on a leprechaun hunt. Like who does that? Oh, like literally time of my life. Time of my life. I would love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, yes. So fairies are not, like I said, fairies are not nice. And so I've always thought that was funny. And that's why I like talking about fairies and the fae folk, because that's what they're called, the fae folk. And it's like fairies and gnomes and leprechauns. I don't know if elves are considered fae folk. I guess they might be. But yeah, all of those, they're kind of like related, and they're called the fae folk, and all of them have similar like characteristics. Like they're all mischievous, just like the leprechaun in Supernatural. Like you can ask for something and they'll give it to you, but with like a twist. And they're not nice beings, even though in this day and age in like modern times, we portray them as these like cute little nice little beings, and they're not. They're not. They are not nice. No. Like there's a meme that I saw, and it's like like there's this like lore on fairy circles, and if you go out into the woods and there's like a circle of rocks, don't step in it because it is a fairy circle and it does not bring good luck. And so and so there's like a whole meme about it, but I just love it, and that's why I love talking about fairies, because they are wildly misinterpreted. I think. You said, yes, going on a leprechaun hunt would be great. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Doesn't it sound like so much fun? Like that's what I want to do. I really am. I'm gonna try to do it one of these days. I'm gonna try.